Lately, I've been quite obsessed with color analysis and I've been wanting to go to a professional color analysis to get my colors done. But here in Spain, where I live, color analysis is not actually that popular, so I actually didn't found many places. And honestly, I didn't want to pay 300 or 200 euros just to go to a place that maybe it's not that professional. So I decided to dive into the color analysis world, which is huge. There's a lot of information out there, and I am not a professional, but I feel like everyone can become a professional because nowadays you can find everything on the internet. So after a week of diving into this world, I was finally able to determine my own color analysis. And today in this video, I'm going to show you everything that I learned, and I'm going to show you how you can find out your own color analysis at home. Don't be discouraged because this is actually quite extensive. This is going to be an extensive video. I'm going to try to make it as easy and understandable as possible, but maybe you are going to need to go back to some sections of this video. So I know it's going to be a lot of information, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite easy. So now, without further ado, let's get started. So let's start with the seasons. Of course, we have 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. As you can see in this wheel, we can see light, dark, soft, and bright. And also we need to keep in mind that we have the cool seasons and the warm seasons. Warm seasons are spring and autumn, and the cool seasons are summer and winter. And by looking at this wheel, you can also see that spring and winter are bright and summer and autumn are soft or muted. We can also see that spring and summer are light and autumn and winter are dark. This is gonna be important. You don't need to memorize all of this, but this wheel is quite important to understand everything. Once you have that in mind, we need to talk about your undertone. This is the most important step of color analysis. You need to figure out what is your undertone. So we have the cool undertone, which means that you have kind of a bluish undertone to your skin or more pink. Then we have the warm, which means that you have more of a yellow or orange undertone. And then we have the neutral and the olive. So being neutral means that you are actually in between, but it is impossible to just be in between. You are gonna be neutral, leaning towards warm, or neutral, leaning towards cool. And being olive also means that you are neutral. The only difference is that olive undertones have a green undertone, but they also lean towards warm or leans towards cool. Now, how do you find your undertone? There's a different type of tests. The first is the vein test. If you have blue or purple veins, that means that you are cool. If you have green veins, that means that you are warm. And if you have a mix of blue and green, that means that you are neutral or olive. The vein test is actually not that reliable. It does work for some people, but not for everyone. So the second test is the sun test. If you burn, that means that you are cool. If you tan, that means that you are warm. And if you burn but also tan, that means that you are neutral. For instance, I am a neutral, and if I don't put sunscreen on, I'm gonna burn, but then I'm gonna tan. But if I put sunscreen on, I'm just gonna tan. So, for me, this test works, but again, the sun test might not work for everyone. So the third test will be the foundation test, or kind of the makeup test. This is probably one of the best tests ever, in my opinion. So first of all, you're gonna look at your foundation. Most foundations usually have names that define your undertone. For instance, I use House Lab foundations, and my foundation, I didn't know this, but I looked it up and it said beige neutral or light neutral, and now I cannot remember. So you should find your best match foundation and then look at the name of the foundation. But if foundation doesn't really work or it doesn't really help you in that matter, you can look and remember what kind of makeup looks best on you. Do you usually look better in warm eyeshadow, in warm lipstick, in warm blush or contour, or you look better in cool makeup looks? This is how you're gonna determine as well what kind of undertone you may have. So if you look better in warm blush and really warm bronzer, probably means that you are warm. And if you look better with kind of bluish or grayish eyeshadow, you are probably cool tone. Now, if you can pull off both, you are gonna be neutral. These tests, in my opinion, are great, but as I said, they do not work for everyone. So I'm gonna give you the best test, and even though you kind of found out your undertone already, I would encourage you to try this one, which I think is the best. and it is draping. Now, when you go to a professional color analysis, they are just gonna do draping on you, which is essentially just putting different type of colors on top of your chest to see how your skin tone interacts with different types of color. So we are gonna try different colors, and for this you are gonna need different fabrics or different types of clothing. To do this, I actually just used dresses, pants. I also did use a purse that I had. So just look at your closet and try to find different items of clothing that may work for this. To do draping, always do it with no makeup on, in front of a window with natural daylight. You should not be wearing any jewelry. I was actually wearing jewelry at the beginning and then I take it off. I forgot to take it off. And also you should cover your hair, or at least put it on a ponytail. Also, you should have a mirror in front of you because cameras can actually change a little bit the color. So it is best to look at yourself in a mirror while you're doing this. You should also be wearing, during all this draping session, a white cloth on top of your chest, or you could be wearing a white t-shirt. I decided to go with a pillowcase that's quite big. So first of all, you are gonna need a white piece of clothing and an off-white or beige piece of clothing. So first of all, you're gonna put the white cloth and then you are gonna put the off-white color on top of it. You just need to look at yourself and see how the two colors look on you. So you're first gonna look at yourself with the off-white piece of clothing, and then you are gonna take it off and look at yourself with the white piece of clothing. When draping, you need to pay attention to the white on your eyes or on your teeth, your imperfections, and your under eyes. If your skin looks bright or looks dull and tired, and also if your head is kind of floating on top of the color, and if you are seeing first the color or your face. When it is your color, you are gonna look more bright. Your imperfections are not gonna be that visible. The white on your eyes and on your teeth are gonna look whiter, and the color is gonna be in harmony with your skin, which means that it's not gonna overpower you and you are not gonna look like a floating head. So if you look better in white, you are gonna be cool tone, and if you look better in the off-white, you are gonna be warm tone. So then we are gonna compare gray versus brown. You are gonna do the same. If you look better in dark brown, that means that you have a warm undertone, and if you look better in gray, that means that you have a cool undertone. As I said, pay attention to your complexion. Does it look brighter? Do you look more tired, more dull, or do you look more awake and your imperfections are not that visible? Next is gonna be gold versus silver. Here, I actually do not own anything on gold, but I grabbed this t-shirt which looks kind of goldish. In camera, looks more beige, but it's actually goldish in person. And then I grabbed this purse that it's silver. So as I said, you just work with what you have. Like in professional color analysis, they have all of this draping and all of these different colors, and it's actually easier, of course, but you can definitely do this at home with just stuff that you have on your closet. Same thing. How does your skin look? Do you look brighter in one color than the other? How does your imperfections look? How does your under eyes affect each color? Also, if you have a neutral undertone, this is gonna be more difficult to see. I do have a neutral undertone, and it's like on some of these tests is a little bit difficult to see the difference, but I actually do see the difference. If you have trouble actually seeing the difference, ask for someone to help you, maybe your mom, your boyfriend, your dad, your dog, I don't know. Someone, because most of the time other people see it better than yourself. With the brown and gray on myself, it's so clear that I have a warm undertone. As you can see, like my blemishes almost disappear, my skin looks brighter and more even, and with the gray I look dull and tired. So sometimes with some colors it's easier to see than others. I feel like with the silver and with the gold it's not that easy. It's way easier to see it with in my skin tone with dark brown and gray. So with this test, you should already know if you have a cool undertone or a warm undertone. If you have a cool undertone, you're either gonna be a summer or a winter, and if you have a warm undertone, you're either gonna be a spring or an autumn. But now that you know that, how do you find out which of the two are you? The next step is the bright versus muted or soft. If you are bright, you're either gonna be a winter or a spring, and if you are muted or soft, you're either gonna be a summer or an autumn. As always, best way to tell this is by draping. So we are gonna start with a muted color and with a bright color. As you can see here, I decided to choose kind of a muted green and a really bright, colorful dress that actually has different colors, but also has a really bright green. So you are essentially gonna do the same. You're gonna put on first one color and then the other and then compare. Here again, I do feel like it's quite obvious. I don't know what you think, but I definitely see the difference between the two. Here I'm also gonna try it with a muted pink and a hot pink. These are two dresses that I actually love, but I do love one way more than the other, and it's not because one is prettier than the other, it's because one color works way better for me than the other. This is way more obvious than with the green. I did see the difference with the green, but here the difference is actually quite insane. As you can see, my face just lights up, looks brighter, my skin looks more even with the softer color than with the bright pink, which you can see I do have more contrast on my skin. My face also looks like it's floating. This is one thing that you definitely need to pay attention to. Does your head look like it's floating and you see first the color then your skin? Or do you look in harmony with the color? That's when you are gonna tell the difference between the two. So if the bright color looks better on you and you, for instance, are cool tone, you're gonna be a winter. If you look better with a muted color, but you are cool tone, you are gonna be a summer. If you are a warm tone and you look better in bright, you're gonna be a spring. And if you look better in muted colors and you are a warm tone, you are gonna be an autumn. Now that we have that figured out, let's talk about the subseasons. You are almost there. So first of all, I'm gonna focus in the light versus dark. So here, as you can see, I tried with a light green and a dark green. The difference is not obvious here. I do think that I look great in both colors, which means actually that I'm in between. So it is possible to be just in between. I am in between, but what about you? Do you look better in light colors or you look better in dark colors? Another way to find out your sub-season is looking at your contrast. When looking at your contrast, you should only be looking at your eyes, your skin, and your brows. Never look at the color of your hair. The color of your hair does not matter. So you could have a light contrast, a dark contrast, and a soft contrast. Having a light contrast means that your features kind of blend together. As you can see, it's kind of easier to tell with a black and white picture, but I wouldn't only rely on the black and white picture. But as you can see, the image has no contrast when you put it in black and white. Then of course, having a dark contrast is the opposite. Having a dark contrast means that the contrast on your features is super visible. So for instance, your skin is super light and you have really dark eyes and dark brows. Now, if you don't fall into either of these two categories, you're probably gonna be just in between. You are not light and you are not dark. You are just in between. So looking at the wheel again, if you have a light contrast, you're probably gonna be either a light spring, light summer. If you have a dark contrast, you might be a dark winter, dark autumn. And if you are in between, you are probably gonna be bright spring, bright winter, true spring or true summer, true autumn or true winter, soft summer or soft autumn. Let's talk about now the true seasons. True seasons embody either warmth or coolness. People that fall into these categories, their dominant trait is that either they are super cool tone or they are super warm tone. So just by looking at these people, you're gonna be able to tell that they have a warm undertone or that they have a cool undertone. So if, for instance, the first step was super obvious for you, you saw really clearly that you had a warm undertone, just no doubt about it, you are probably gonna be part of the true seasons. If you're neutral, you're probably not gonna be part of the true seasons because, as I said, those embody either warmth or coolness, and neutral people are a mix between cool and warm. To help you out a little bit, I'm also gonna show you some examples of celebrities and famous people of each season. First, let's start with spring. Spring people look great in warm and bright colors. Light springs are usually people that have light skin and light eyes, probably light hair as well, but actually looking at your features may help but also may confuse you, so I wouldn't pay too much attention at your features, just how the colors look against your skin. Then we have the true spring, which these people shine in really warm colors and bright colors. And then we have the bright spring, which is the people that look the best in super bright colors, but also this color palette doesn't have super warm colors. They are bright and they are warm, but they are not extremely warm like the true spring. Next we have autumn. Autumn people look great in warm muted colors. We have soft autumn, which I am part of. This is my season, and these people look amazing in muted colors that are warm but not super warm. These people can also pull off cool tones because these are neutral people. Then we have the true autumn. These people look amazing in super warm colors and also kind of darkish colors and muted colors. Then we have the dark autumn, which look great in dark warm colors. Then for summer we have the light summer. These people are super light and they look great in light cool colors. Then the true summer is people that look amazing in really cool colors and muted colors. And soft summers, which are also kind of similar to these soft autumns, but soft summers look best in cool tones and they have a cool undertone, but also these people usually have a neutral undertone. Then winter, we have the bright winter. Bright winters look amazing in super bright striking colors, and these colors do not overpower them. Then we have the true winters, which look amazing in dark and really cool tone colors. And the dark winter is the season that has the most black in it. These people do not get overpowered by black. These people look great in silver and in dark cool colors. With all of this, it should be fairly easy to know which category you fall into. But what happens if you are in between two seasons or two subcategory seasons? This is completely normal. Usually people are just divided by two and they don't know which of the two are they. What helped me and what I think helps the most is looking at the colors of each season and then looking back at all pictures of yourself to decide what colors you felt best on. So for instance, I am neutral leaning towards warm. That means that I'm either gonna be a spring or an autumn. I do know by the test that we did that I do look better in muted colors than bright colors. That means automatically that I am an autumn. Now, inside of the autumn seasons, the true autumn and the dark autumn both have an orange color, but I've always looked terrible in orange. I've always hated how orange looks on my skin tone, and the only season or sub-season inside of autumn that does not have orange is the soft autumn. So by elimination, with the colors of each season, you can also help yourself decide which of the sub-seasons are you. And that's pretty much it. Those were all the steps to be able to find your own color analysis at home. Hopefully I made this quite simple. As I said, there's a lot of information, so if you need to watch this again, go back to any of the steps or chapters. I'm gonna put all of the chapters down below to make it easier for you. But hopefully this helped. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next week. Bye!